with the Editor. I'm Dennis Spaeth, and joining us tonight is our special guest from Scientific Cutting Tools, Sarah Christopher Falk and Jonathan Christopher from a company with a long family history. And
That's right.
I think tonight they're going to tell us quite a bit about the history of Scientific Cutting Tools, mostly for my benefit and maybe for some of those of you out there listening who are interested to know about its origins. Being a family company, I think it's more interesting these days to learn about those types of stories about some of the companies out there that are family owned. So tonight we're going to be enjoying some Buffalo Trace bourbon, which let's just say it's a family friendly bourbon. So cheers to you.
Cheers, Dennis. It's delicious.
It is. And we've had this bourbon before, and it's just one of my favorite. So we're going to start with some background about the literal origin, going back to your grandfather. So, Sarah, are you gonna?
Yeah.
And I should say you're the marketing director,
Yep.
and Jonathan is
Manufacturing director.
Okay. I should have said that up front.
Yeah. You know, we do things.
So your grandfather, Stan Christopher.
Yes.
So
that's right. Grandpa Stan.
How did this get started? How did they come up with the name?
Yeah.
And all that?
Oh, I love talking about the name. I'm so glad you asked. I really do. It's super fun. As a marketing person, and also, you studied journalism, Dennis. I studied English. This is my bachelor's degree. So we love a good story, right? So this is a good story.
You like the third comma too. I skipped that before the and.
Right. So here's and for those of you who are also watching, up on the screen is a photo of Grandpa Stan, one of the only photos we have of him actually at work. So he started Scientific Cutting Tools. He was working for an aerospace company in Southern California at the time, and he, the best way to describe him is just a tinkerer. He just tinkered, he just tinkered, anyway, there's so many stories we could tell about Grandpa Stan, but yes.
Where was this?
So this was in
located?
His garage. So he started with one machine and one customer in his garage in North Hollywood, California.
In 63.
Yep, exactly. With 3 small children and a wife that he was supporting. So a lot on the line. That's part of the story, is his why. I think that's a lot of what motivated him, was that he did care for, he wanted to care for his family and care for them well. So here he is at his grinding machine here, which we still have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we
on
have
the shop floor.
Yeah, I think we probably have that one.
Yeah.
We have, that's a Covell grinder, and we have, I believe, 3 of those on the floor still. Not used for daily production, but for some of the modifications, they still get used.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Go ahead. I was going to say the story of the SCT, though, I think is the most the fun story, and this is where we get into conspiracy theory a little bit, because I don't know if this is actually how the story goes, but people will ask me at trade shows and stuff what's with the name? Why Scientific Cutting Tools? What's scientific about it? And I'm like, well, it's a name, and Grandpa Stan came up with it. But here's my theory. So his name was Stanley. There's the S. Her name, my Noni's name, was Tony, short for Antoinette, but known as Tony. And their last name was Christopher. So I kind of see it as a monogram of, it's a love story. That's my theory.
Maybe.
Why not?
Why not?
I mean, it's your company's backstory.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot scientific behind it.
Oh, sure.
What was your grandfather's background? I mean, education and all that. Was he? Why did he get attracted to the? Getting it. I mean, that wasn't an inexpensive thing to come by.
True. At the time, you're right. So it comes with another story, of course, Dennis, because we'll just trade stories all night. So his first job out of high school was as an automotive mechanic And as part of his duty set, he drove a tow truck. And I actually have in receipt at my home, or my mother's house, a write-up of when he drove a tow truck a little too aggressively and tipped it over.
This was in high school still.
In high school still. So this is his speed. So he was a high school graduate, drove a tow truck, worked at an auto mechanic shop, eventually got a job at Boeing, I believe.
No, I think it was at Lockheed.
Lockheed Martin, one of the big aerospace firms, working in their grind shop. And that's where he had an idea for how to
learn the trade.
And then had an improvement that he thought was a great idea to a porting tool. And it didn't really get any traction. And so he actually initially entered into business with a business partner, launched his little tiny shop, in his garage in North Hollywood, California, just manufacturing this one porting tool for one aerospace customer, one tool, one customer. And then eventually the other business partner decided to go a different direction, and he launched formally what is now Scientific Cutting Tools.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I like hearing about the origin. Now, how long was he the whole company?
Oh gosh.
just generally.
For a few years, and then he had eventually his brother worked with him for a while.
That's right. Yep.
And then my dad, as he worked through junior high school, it would be after work coming over to the shop and sweeping the floors, or in high school
And our uncle.
And our uncle, yeah.
Both boys.
But yeah, they'd be, in high school, if it was after school or in the summer times, I remember my dad telling me stories of being a teenager and working long days at the mill, machining out the steel bodies for the port tools, carbide tip tools. And I think that it varied some year by year, because at the time the aerospace market would fluctuate some, and so sometimes they'd have half a dozen employees, sometimes it'd be one or two.
But he had 3 children. For those watching, I think we have a photo of the whole family of the 3 children. So it was, there it is, Gary, Dale, and Jan. So our father is the little boy on the far right. That's Dale. So Jonathan and I are siblings, obviously. Yeah. And then, so it's Stan and Tony, and then Gary is the oldest boy in the back in the middle, and then Dale is our father, and then the little girl in the front is Jan. And this was about the time that he started his shop.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
they're cute, aren't they? It's fun to think of our father as being, look, he's so cute, like he's a little boy. I love it.
And one of my brothers, my brother Terry, had those glasses.
Yeah.
So I think
the style.
I'm familiar with the style. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are our roots, though, and I think there's we get to rub shoulders with a lot of distribution companies that are family owned, Dennis, but I think it's a little more rare to still have on the manufacturer side. Like I can think of some. There are some out there, and there are some like amazing manufacturing companies out there that are still privately held and family owned, but there are fewer, I think, than maybe the distribution side. So I'm proud of us.
Yeah, I'm too.
Yeah, and it's worth noting the family connection and the family ownership and that what's been behind this business because of current situation with workforce development and all that.
Exactly.
But we can get into that later on, but that's why I think it is important to know some of the background. All right, what are we looking at here?
So here's another photo. So we have from the left, we have our father Dale, and then our auntie Jan, and then of course Grandpa Stan, and we I call her Grandma Noni because her name, of course, was Tony from Antoinette. But when we were wee little babes, we couldn't say Tony. We said Noni. So she's our Noni. And then Gary, our Uncle Gary on the far right. So this was after the transition of ownership, fully and second generation was running the company, and really it was our father was really instrumental in bringing in the CNC machines in the 80s and making that headway. And
yeah, he brought CNC grinders in starting in 1988.
Okay.
So pretty early for the industry.
Yeah, that would be because a lot of the computerization was still taking place when I got involved in the industry in 2007.
there you go.
So that is early.
Yeah.
A lot of gray in that photo. So
I know. Yeah. Yes. And then, Grandpa Stan's no longer with us. This is a few years, or just a couple years before he passed. But I think that he would be proud.
And your dad is not involved at this point?
So Dale and Jan, so Gary is fully retired. He's the oldest of the three. And then Dale and Jan are part-time still. So it's more of like a mentorship,
They've already
a phasing out, a plan toward retirement, but still.
Yeah. They've already formally recognized us, this next generation, my cousin, those that are part of the next generation of management as running the company, but they're still there in a part-time capacity in order to just...
It's a great plan. It's a great transition plan. It really is. So here's to them.
Here's to that.
Honestly.
Here we go.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yep. Yeah. So I think the next photo might be of... Oh, yeah.
All right, yeah. Going back again.
We have to talk about this for a minute. So this is when we made the great move, as we call it, from Burbank. So the company started in Grandpa Stan's little garage, and then he rented a little tiny place nearby, and then for many years we had a small shop in Burbank, California, and then we officially...
Johnny Carson was... Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
No, we were actually right across the street from Skunk Works.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, so,
Yeah.
we're
The Burbank location.
Yeah, no, but that was the Lockheed's. Their facility was right across the street. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was easy. But this in particular, so this is a photo of us in about 1995, I believe, of moving from Burbank to Simi Valley. And what you have to know about Southern California culture is that Burbank is part of what's known as the Valley. Okay. And so it's Los Angeles County. And so previously, that's where the company had been, was LA County. And then we made this little tiny jump over the hill into not the valley, into Simi Valley. So that's Ventura County, just a little bit more out of the city, a little bit more of a quiet suburb. But on the left, you see Jonathan helping actually unload stuff out of the moving truck into the new shop facility.
Wow.
That was 9.
9, yeah.
Yep.
Yes. And then on the right, you see me. I'm the oldest girl. So this is in the new facility, sitting on a massive bag of packing peanuts that I'm sure was going to the shipping portion of the facility. But we have our cousin Mark, who is also he works for SCT. He's one of still there. And then the other two little girls are my sisters, who don't work at SCT, but they were there for that move.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But that move in 95 was a pivotal change for the company when we finally had the room to expand, and it was shortly after that we were able to develop some strong contracts with larger distributors and really grow as a company. So that was a big turning point, big change for the company there.
It was, and I just have to, shout out to that second generation of leadership who was willing to sign literally their personal lives on the line to take that risk, because that's what they had to leverage in order to make that move and to make that jump to a bigger facility and expand the operations. And so it does not go unnoticed or unheeded, the sacrifices that the prior generation made.
Talk about the market at that point. So around 95, 96, 97, somewhere in there, we wanted to talk about what shaped the company at that point. So, and aerospace is obviously a big part of that. So do you want to kind of let us know what started happening there?
Do our 9 and 12-year-old selves know about this? I don't know if we can answer your question.
I can answer some of it. Part of the answer of that is in thread mills, because we started developing thread mills in either the late 80s or very early 90s. There was a customer that came to my dad and said, you should be making this product. There's not many manufacturers doing it, and we think this would be a good addition for you guys. And my dad looked at it and said, yeah, this is a way that we could serve our industry. This seems like a profitable thing to get into. And that has been one of the big things that grew us through the 90s, through that decade, and through the additions of different thread mill lines that we would add along the way. So I think that part of that time frame was adding like single profile thread mills. I know it was right through the middle of the 90s when Dad added those into the mix. So that's part of the answer to the question.
So he's obviously your dad and your grandfather are still working pretty well together at this point, right?
I think Grandpa Stan had
he was already starting to slow down.
Retired at that point. So
By the
really
end
it
of
was Dale and Jan.
He retired in 98, I
Yep.
believe. Yeah. So
Yep.
So somebody's keeping their finger on the pulse of what's going on in the industry. So what's driving that? Just customers? They're listening to customers?
Listening
What's
to
needed?
customers, we already had reps at that point, so it was hearing the feedback that was coming from them, from some of our key distributors. It's a mix. You're listening and, trying to see what people need and what the industry needs. So,
And I didn't ask. I don't think I've even heard anything about the geographic reach of the company. At that point in time. When you're pretty much go all across the country and worldwide,
Sure.
right?
Yes.
So
that's correct.
when did you start moving out beyond your?
Yeah, I would say it was during these years as well. Like I remember as a 12-year-old, just like these snapshots, right? So one of my snapshots is rollerblading in the empty building before the riggers got there with the machinery equipment. So that was pretty fun. But another snapshot was of a big map on the wall behind our sales director's desk. Shout out to Todd White, our sales director, but he had it like, with a Sharpie, like literally drawn out, like this is this rep's territory, this is that rep's territory, and like how all, this goes to there and that goes to there, and this is the push that we're making in all of these different sections of the country. So I would say like there was a lot cooking that I didn't realize as a 12-year-old or as a 10-year-old, and Dad goes to work. Like, I want to go to work too with you, Daddy, but just there was a lot going on, and I think that was the growth trajectory
I'd say that up until the 90s, before then, the company primarily served the Southern California aerospace market, and
And then
then it pushed, and then we had a big push.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that from that point on, all right, now before we get too far forward here, I want to get to you two specifically. So let's take a step back, because I know there's other markets that help the company grow.
Yes.
But talk about your first experience going to work for the company and whether it took right away or not.
Oh, that's such a good question. Okay, so forward to the next picture, and we'll like introduce the players to everybody. So here we all are. So, because it's such a good question, I feel like I have to add some context here, Dennis, for the listeners. So from left to right, we have Brandon, who's our cousin. He's Brandon Kay, Director of Operations, who's not here. He's holding down the fort in SoCal. So thank you, Brandon, for doing that. And then, of course, we have Jan and Dale, who are second generation. And then myself in the middle with my husband, Brian, who's Director of Business Strategy. And then on the end, we have Jonathan and his wife, Sarah Kate. Sarah Kate's our engineering manager, and then Jonathan is director of manufacturing. So that's kind of who we are now. So second generation is kind of phasing out. Third generation is here to stay. But I think that as far as directly answering your question, Jonathan and I are going to have very different answers to that.
No, we are.
Yeah. So do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So, my earliest memories of interacting with the company is, being a kid, being scared of walking by the air compressor going into the back of the building. But as far as working there, I got a work permit when I was 14 years old, and I would come in after school and work a couple hours here and there. As it was just minimal amount each week, but it was making a few bucks and getting exposure to what was going on. And I bounced back and forth between all the terrible jobs of
Cleaning the bathrooms.
Basically, cleaning tools,
cleaning tools
bathrooms.
with wiping tools off. You'd have acetone in a rag at the time because we didn't have a full cleaning system like we do now, and you'd have labeling labeling the individual packages for the tools, or just cleaning, sweeping, whatever needed to be done. But it grew from that to where I took a drafting class with my sister, and
Not me, another sister.
My sister Sharon, and we learned AutoCAD. And so as I got older into my teens, my dad started to teach me programming. I started to learn tool design. I learned some drafting. I learned
all on the job.
Yeah, this is mostly on the job. Yeah,
Okay.
And then it was when I as I got to be 18 or close to it, then that's where I could start to work in the shop, because you can't get hands on really before then too much. So then I started to learn CNC machines. Actually, I started learning manual grinding, cylindrical grinding, and then into CNC. And I liked it a lot. I took to it, but I still wasn't 100% sure that was the direction I was going to go as far as a career. And so when I was 20, I believe, was when I took some time out to go pursue a different trade for a while. I thought about going in the automotive industry and doing repair there. Okay. And I was going to go try for more of the high end, maybe do work for some of the high end brands or something like that. And I went to a school for that for a while, and then that was when I got enough months of that, and I decided, no, I want to be at the family company. And when I came back from that, that's when I went back to school and finished the degree program that I did, and decided to jump just full-fledged into the company. So I knew when I came back from that adventure at 20, 21 years old that I wanted to be at the company, and that's where I was going to stay. So,
I mean, and it's great that you were given the freedom to go try it.
Right.
But you made up your mind that it's like, oh, you know what? Compared to family business, I'm going to go back to that.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a fun entry into any kind of a profession that's going to become your whole career.
Yeah, it was an eye opener. It was a big learning experience doing what I did. It was good for me in my career to step away. I think I am actually better for it by doing that.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah.
Yeah, so he took like a year to figure out that he wanted to re-engage with SCT, and I took like 15 years, so it took me a little bit longer. But no, I mean, I did the same thing. I got a work permit at 14, and did shipping, did tool labeling, I remember one of my tasks was, in addition to just filing invoices in alphabetical order, was converting all of my dad's hand-drawn CAD prints into computer, actually CAD, right?
Okay.
So previously they had all been drawn by hand. And so I had a little bit of that drafting experience, but then I went to college and met my husband, and we moved out of state. And I did something totally different. I was in education and educational policy, and then educational politics, and so bond campaign and school board and different things like that, in a totally different state and far away. And then I remember when Grandpa Stan passed a few years ago, and it was at a time in our life when, just through a variety of circumstances, the kids' schools needed to change because of a bullying situation, and we needed to move because of a health situation, and it was like, okay, well, if we're already moving and we're already changing schools, and there's this disruption in our lives anyway. I remember sitting there one afternoon and just thinking to myself, if I could do anything, what would I do? And I thought to myself, I would work at SCT. And that had never been an ambition of mine in the past. And so that, I don't know if it's because I'm a slow learner or a slow bloomer or whatever. It was the right time for me to re-engage and be intentional about it. And so I did a complete career pivot, and I went back to school and earned a master's degree in business with 2 kids and a cross-country move. And my husband had worked at Lockheed Martin for 15 years in Texas. And so we both had the opportunity, again, circling back to that opportunity is what I think that is so beautiful about this whole story, is that Grandpa Stan afforded opportunity to his children, and his children afforded opportunity to us. And so whether that was after, in Jonathan's case, a 6-month stint away and then moved back, and he knew this is what I want to do. Or for me, it was a 15-year stint, right? But then a complete career pivot and an all-in, I am here, I have moved across the country. I have cranked out a degree to help prepare me for this. Like, I am all in. So that's kind of where my headspace was at, and what it took for me was just, and that's the beautiful thing, is that I think for me, the beautiful thing was that the opportunity was still there after all that time, and I'm so grateful for it.
Well, and it's not necessarily a typical path, but this is what's interesting to me about both of your paths. It's you're a rarity that knew about the industry and was aware of it throughout this time, and you came back to it.
I came back to it
because opportunity was there, but there was certainly no downside. There was no negativity on your that you were feeling toward this industry. It was just you had explored other things, and now you're coming back to something you're familiar with and you know. and you're even more invested now than before. So
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
interesting.
Yes.
It's not
Yeah.
necessarily, I mean, that was a different era in this country too. I mean, manufacturing was still kind of big back then. I don't, what years was it?
So my husband and I moved back from Texas to California 2.5 years ago.
Oh, so that this
very
was
very
after.
recent,
Okay.
very
yeah.
recent,
Yeah.
very recent.
What about you?
For me, when I came back and was there to stay and knew exactly what I was doing, that would have been at the end of 2006, beginning of 2007, something like that.
Yeah.
So right about when I started working at
There
Cutting
you
Tool
go.
Engineering.
There you go. Yes, I love it.
So
I think, like Jonathan said, though, like it makes me a better employee and a better leader and a better marketing director, I think, because I've had these outside experiences now, and
I
this
have
is
said that, and I believe that. Yeah.
there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Like this is my choice now, and so I think there's a lot of family companies out there who struggle with this, and I've heard it. Being at the trade show circuits the last few years and just knowing people and talking to people, and it's like, oh, I don't have anybody to pass it off to, and I think that's a bittersweet moment, and but also you just never know. And that's Jonathan and I both have children, and Brandon as well, our cousin who's not here, and I think and the other cousins who are also engaged in the business, and that's what we want to give to them, though, is opportunity. What you do with the opportunity is up to you.
Right.
What you put in is what you get out.
Yeah.
But the opportunity is there, and I can speak for myself. I'm very grateful for that opportunity. And manufacturing is fun, man. Manufacturing. I even have a sticker on my laptop, Dennis. It says "Manufacturing is sexy," and I stand by it.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, all you got to do is walk into a shop that is cutting metal and it's just peeling it away. It's just amazing to watch. So, yeah, it is.
It's fun. Like, it is vast and it is ubiquitous. It is everywhere. I mean, I remember when we first moved back, and like right out of the gate, it was like West Tech time, right? So Jonathan and I are driving to West Tech, and we're tooling down the highway, and he's like, "Oh yeah, see that semi truck over there? They used an SAE J1926 port contour cutter to."
No, it was a piece of heavy equipment.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
see what he does.
But the point was, what I was trying to show you at the time as someone who was kind of new coming back into it was saying, here's the reach of how far cutting tools go, is that this tool is made to make this feature of this component. This component goes into this assembly. This assembly goes into this piece of equipment, and this piece of equipment is used to do this job. And it's just, you go so back, go back so many layers, and it's just one piece of something that's this massive.
Like, you pull that thread and you get back to cutting tools.
Yeah.
So it's like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. You just got to go back far enough and you get to CT.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That is amazing. And when you say it's everywhere, it is everywhere. But people may not realize manufacturing is everywhere. It's probably in almost every community around.
Yep.
You just don't notice these little industrial parks are
It's
housing
true.
these places. So.
We toured a shop 2 weeks ago. So we did the SME MT Series Southwest in Dallas, and we tacked on a day and we toured a shop called Tactile Turn, and they're making these really cool pens, like out of titanium, and they're using our tools to do some of the components of the pen. But like you just drive by and it's just this non-assuming industrial parkway, right? And then they're doing, it's like a bolt action and titanium, and it's turned, so it's got these cool threads on the outside, and like, it's really cool. But you would never know that they're there.
I mean, and the thing is, there's a lot of opportunity for the workforce. People unsure of what they want to do with their lives, and to try a career in machining at any shop is, it's not going to cost you a 4-year degree or anything.
Yeah.
You might want to just try it out. Maybe it isn't for you, but it isn't real. As long as you can do, you can bring yourself to it and really invest yourself in it, and
Correct.
give your boss a real effort. You're going to learn something, and if you aren't impressed with this, like the way these cutting tools and these machines cut through metal,
Yeah.
and a lot of the other elements that are coming in, additive manufacturing, but
Right.
it's just so computerized now. It is sexy for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that anyone who likes to work with their hands would be intrigued by this profession. So
Yeah, and
obviously,
if you have any sense of curiosity,
Exactly.
and I think that's one of the things that's really helped has what made has made me grow in this industry is I just want to know how all of it works. I want to know how the cutting tools. I want to know the materials. I want to know the parts being made. I want to know what they're going into. I'm curious that way, and that was the same thing even when I was doing some amount of automotive work. It's just I'm a mechanical person that way, and so for the person coming into it, if you're curious and you're showing it a certain amount of initiative, like you're probably going to go a long way.
yeah, it's a career that if you show that right now, there's a lot of that opportunity to go a long way,
100%.
and it'll be that way for years to come still.
Yeah.
But we should probably move on a little bit. But you wanted to talk about more like today and how your future is looking family wise.
Yeah. So because we've got some good things cooking this
Yeah.
third
Yeah.
generation.
Yeah, you got a lot of family involved.
Yeah. Like Todd says, we're cooking with gas now. Our sales director, we're cooking with gas.
He's a
So
funny guy.
yes, yeah. So we.
I could make a joke right now.
Yeah.
But never mind.
You should come on. Don't pass an
What
opportunity for a
guys?
joke.
What do you guys feed everybody at the shop? But beans or something?
Quack quack. There
Yeah.
it is. Yep. Good one. Good one.
They know I come from a family of 10, mostly brothers. So.
Yep. You gotta make a fart joke once in a while, right? Yeah. I love it. Yeah, we've got some really exciting things on the horizon that this third generation has been really pushing forward, and I call it the trifecta of technology because it's really a 3-pronged approach. So we have, I'll just list them off, and then we can get into it, the weeds a little bit about it and explain. But we have adopted a Zoller equipment, both the Genius and the SKP Palm. We are looking forward to implementing the ANCA EPX SF. It's a edge prep.
Stream finishing edge prep machine.
Yep. And then the third one, the kind of crown jewel, or if you so to speak, of the trifecta here, is the CemeCon CC800 HiPIMS PVD coating chamber. So that's a lot of acronyms and a lot of words that I've just thrown out there, but we can dive into each of them
And this has all taken place within.
Within starting maybe
we got the
less
Zoller
than 2
in
years
May.
ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, the Palm SKP we got
SKP was
a
earlier.
year ago,
Yeah.
about year and a half ago. Yeah.
And this is the total cost of these machines that you've invested in now.
This is all for
Ballpark.
over $2 million. Yeah.
And this is an investment in the company for its future with your existing customers and for potential new customers.
That's
so
Yeah.
go ahead.
All right.
Yep. Yeah. So you started on what, the Zoller?
I think we started with the Zoller.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
So-
there's some pictures for people who are watching the video version.
Yeah, so we have 2 pieces of Zoller equipment now. The Zoller Genius, the Zoller Palm SKP Go, and the Zoller Genius is a CNC tool inspection equipment. And one of the unique things about that is that you're able to check everything on the tool. If you're using a comparator, for example, or a different video system, you might be able to inspect some dimensions on a tool, but with a Zoller Genius, you can inspect all dimensions on the tool. You can see what the shape of your flute looks like. You can, you can see what all the reliefs are. And by doing that and using it as an in-process tool, you're able to make sure that you're giving consistent results to your customers.
So this is something that you've added. This was the first of the three.
This is the first of the three. That's right. Yep.
And I might be going out of order here, but
That's okay.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I want to kind of get a sense. You are actually physically expanding your facility as well.
Yes.
Is this part of that, or was
This part with the Zoller, no. These are smaller pieces of equipment, so these were able to just set down and start running them.
Okay.
But the aside from the Zoller Genius, which allows us better inspection processes, it was the Zoller SKP that we got that allows us to analyze the edge prep or edge shape on the tool, which tools need to be honed in order to perform best.
And this is in process that does this?
So what happens is that, like, if you look at the machine that's on screen right now that we're getting, that machine is a stream finishing machine. It has the tool spinning and dragging through media in order to just very slightly round the cutting edge and strengthen the cutting edge. And the Zoller SKP that goes with it is to inspect that edge to see what the shape and size of the cutting edge is. And I mean, you're talking at a level of looking at microns on the cutting edge to see what amount of roundness you have there in order to protect the cutting edge and improve the quality of it. But this is the next piece of equipment that goes with it, aside from the inspection equipment, is the ANCA EPX. We have some other technologies in-house for doing edge prep and honing right now, but this is a expansion that will cover even more of our tools. And this is coming from ANCA. I think we're the second U.S. customer to be getting one of these machines. They debuted this machine at IMTS last year.
Oh, there we are.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
with our friends from ANCA. Oh, and a Zoller friend popped
Oh,
in
yeah.
the picture
Yep,
too.
yep.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So-
so at IMTS last year we brought some of our tools with us for them to debut on the machine. And then like Jonathan said, we're one of the first to get the EPX, so we're really excited to get it.
Yeah.
It's going to be our Christmas gift, I think.
I
this
think
year.
so. Yeah.
And talk about what it's going to do for your
Yeah.
So
the tools for your customers and,
Sure.
and why you decided
Absolutely.
to invest that right
Yeah.
now.
So what it does is that it takes what comes as a sharp cutting edge off of the machine, what's deemed a sharp edge,
There you go.
and rounds it and smooths it. So this particular machine has a certain amount of flute polishing effect that it can do, and it's also taking what would be dead sharp on the cutting edge and rounding it ever so slightly. Because a dead sharp tool, as sharp as you can get, is actually not what you usually want on a cutting tool.
It's going to break.
It's going to break. It's going to chip at the edge because it's too weak. You actually need to make it slightly rounded at the cutting edge in order to give it the strength it needs in order to perform. And that's what this particular piece of equipment is for.
Is that what those images are showing us right there?
Somewhat, yeah. I think they're showing a little more of the polishing in that one, but yeah, the same idea. Yeah.
Well, that's what the EPX is
And
going to
so,
do for you.
Right. What it means for our customers is that tool life is going to go up. You're going to protect the edge of the tool. It's going to be a stronger edge that's going to last longer and give them more time between tool changes, better value for what they're paying for.
Wait, Jonathan, should we be doing this? No, just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I think this is one of the things that, like, even considering the long break that I took from the company, what I remember taking away as a girl and in high school, and then coming back and reengaging the last few years, is my dad. Oh my gosh, let me just shout out my dad right now, Dale. He is like, the customer said this, the customer needs this, but I have to answer these customer service emails. But I missed a phone call from customer service today because you took too long at lunch or whatever, whatever it may be. Like, he sets the bar so high for maintaining our customers as the priority. And that's been a beautiful precedent that we are choosing to follow in his footsteps. And this is the direct manifestation of why.
Yeah.
Like, at cost to us, but not really, because our goal is to solve problems with our customers and to walk that journey with them, all the way from the purchase process to the application process and everything in between. Really, our goal is that customer right there and what their journey looks like, and for them to be able to finish jobs. So this is what it looks like to listen to our customers and to go, okay, all right, this is what we got to do then.
And it seems like that with the market, I mean, just the industry in general, the emphasis is always on improving productivity.
Yep.
And one of the ways you do that is to keep up with the technology that's evolving and improving and getting better at cutting through the materials.
Yep.
So sticking with what always works is not really, I mean, it might be okay if you're typing up papers for high school and keep going with that, I don't know, word processor.
Right. No, you're right. Yeah.
But if you're keeping up with the competition throughout the world, you need to stay up to date with the technology that's going to keep everything productive and efficient, keep your costs low. So that's all part of why you're doing this.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so investing in it makes total sense.
Sure.
It's just elevating all of the processes. Like, it's taking that tool that our customers already know is a good tool. It has amazing carbide, right? It has amazing micrograde carbide. It has wonderful GD&T. But like, okay, we've made the tool now. Now all of these things that we're talking about are post grind, post production.
Right.
Like, that tool has now finished its cycle. Like, we have ground all of the forms that it needs. Okay, now what can we do on this other side to make it better?
Yeah, and this comes on the heels of replacing most of our grinding machines that, a lot of them had gotten old. And from 2018 onward, the reinvestment in equipment in just our CNC grinders has been pretty substantial, to where we've replaced most of what we had before then.
Wow.
Are we sounding like a sales pitch, Dennis?
I don't know. I don't know if you are or not. I'm trying to just. I think to me it's more about. Well, okay, maybe it is, but the thing is, you're not talking about a specific tool or anything.
Right.
You're talking about investing in your own business to make sure your business is still relevant, not just tomorrow, but 5 to 10 years.
That's right.
And it's obviously not the first time you've reinvested. Your company has reinvested in the technology. It happened in '88 and in '95, and
not at all. And I thank my dad for that. My dad was the one who really showed me along the way, growing up in it, that reinvestment was not an optional thing. It was a requirement to being in this industry. And that's something that he has been adamant about for his whole career, is just saying we have to reinvest. And every year, on recession years, it's light, but every year we're replacing a machine. We're doing something We're looking at new technology. We're looking at things that aren't just more capacity, but also more capability as a company.
Right.
And I think that's true, no matter who's out there listening tonight or in the future, whether you're a small job shop who has a mini mill in your garage and you're just starting, or whether you're a large company with many thousands of SKUs that you're producing, that setting the priority to reinvest into your technology, into your R&D, into the capital improvements, that is automation, right? That's a long-term goal. That's planting seeds that you may not harvest tomorrow.
Right.
But you will harvest next year, and your future self will thank you. So that would be my encouragement to, no matter whether you're a small shop or a large, outfit. Like, if you're not thinking about the reinvestment and you're not thinking about your customer, you're really taking your eye off the prize.
Right, and that's the customer
Exactly.
and the business they bring. I mean, and that's the thing about staying on top of technology in this industry. It really does change pretty quick. And by that, I mean, maybe you don't get a new grinder every 6 months.
Right, like a
do
phone.
a phone.
Yeah.
But it happens pretty quick.
Only if Jonathan had his way. No.
But you know, one of the things that in your trifecta, to kind of bring this back, I mean, a clear reason for reinvesting is when you need to get, when economics of the cost of carbide becomes such an issue, you need your tools to last as long as they can last.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
that's been
that-
a real
That
issue
kind of
this
leads
year,
into
too.
your HiPIMS thing a little bit.
Yeah. So here's the kind of the one that's been the largest investment, I think, time-wise and just capital has been the CemeCon CC800 HiPIMS, which has been Jonathan's baby, really.
Yeah, the most stressful,
Stressful.
figuring out what to do. And we have a PVD coating system right now, but it's at capacity and it's getting old, and it's older. It's cathodic arc technology. And when we were looking at how to expand our coating facilities, we made the decision to go with a HiPIMS unit from CemeCon, because instead of just going with the status quo of how coating is done right now in the industry, we wanted to go with what where the cutting edge technology is, and that is in this. It's in better adhesion. It's in a smoother coating, a denser coating, one that has less inherent stress to the coating on the surface of the tool. And all that means, again, is longer tool life for customers. So,
Right, and so that's, I mean, if people are wondering, I don't know who would be wondering why companies are always evolving and coming up with better products. But the reason is they want to continue to meet the needs and stay competitive and relevant. And when things like this come along, where there is this just uptick in the cost of a particular material, you need to be ready to help everyone out there just cope with that cost that they're going to, in part, have to absorb. Obviously, everything is going to get passed on to some extent, but this is the trifecta of your investment, and just another example of why companies continue to invest in their technology. And I think this was this is an interesting. Now this one is in place, or it's going to be in place.
no, this is actually where the construction comes in. that you're
Right. So I
talking
think
about.
we might even have a little teaser photo of some of the chaos that's been going on. I say chaos, it's organized chaos, believe me. There's
there
so
it is.
much thought and intentionality that goes behind
You're seeing
it.
the top of that right now in the right picture. But deck that's up above it, but otherwise what's behind the tarp right there, that plastic on the picture on the left, is a couple of rooms being built out that are going to be for the wet blasting system and for the coating vessel itself. It's a whole system that we're buying for doing this.
So it's a significant investment, and it's
It
taking
is,
up
yeah.
a footprint,
Yeah.
and you actually expanded the facility a little bit.
Yeah, we needed
Maybe more than a little bit, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I think what we were built out is something like 900 square feet or something like that.
But there was a jackhammer going off for a couple days, like outside my office, and so it was a little bit like, "Roar," you know.
That's what the
there
bourbon
was some
is for.
plumbing.
there you go.
Yeah. No, it's a big. We're really excited about this. This is a big one.
But we needed this because you need like, especially for the coating systems, you want clean enclosed space. You don't want it in the same warehouse spaces where your grinders are at. It needs to be separate from that, so you can have a controlled process to make sure that you're not getting contaminants into your machine as you're loading and unloading tools and stuff like that. So.
All right,
Yeah.
so it's going to be a
Yeah.
kind of a new ball game for
Yeah.
that side of your business.
So, to answer your question exactly, it arrives sometime next spring, like February, March-ish is
Yeah.
when
So
it's
that's when that's going to roll out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll begin rolling out, and kind of it'll take some time because we got to roll over from and the Alton Plus NACO based coating that we're doing now is not a bad coating.
No, not
Right?
at all.
It's and we've perfected the blend over the years, so it's kind of our own silicone doped blend, but it will be a process as we convert all of that.
Because we have a lot of stock that's in the old coating, and so it'll take time before it rolls over to the new stuff.
But it's coming.
Yeah. But it'll happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's definitely the new technology on the market.
Yes.
Absolutely.
it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's coming, and it's going to make a difference.
Yeah.
What do you see as you want to talk about some of your actual tools?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
tools, right?
sure, yeah.
The thing
So
we make, right?
I mean, not that we are fine on time, but I wanted you to get a chance to talk about some of the porting tools in the thread mill.
Yeah.
Your lineup. What do you like? I mean, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
And maybe we can
Guys.
think about some mini case studies as we
Sure.
talk about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think, we were founded with a porting tool, so that's definitely something that we love, we are passionate about, is porting tools and all of the different specs that we can meet. And then the thread mills, being one of the early adopters of thread mills, we've been in the thread mill game for a while now. So port tools and thread mills are definitely something that we find great joy in. Is that okay? Like, I don't know. Like, is that weird? Like, can I nerd out about thread mills and porting tools for a while?
Well, I'm kind of interested in the demand from customers and what drives your research and your development and production. I mean, obviously, some of the trifecta has had a lot to do with meeting customer needs, but how does that relate? I guess some of the tools that you're really producing right now.
Yeah. I mean, our bread and butter, or the top sellers, I would say, are so porting tools are kind of their own thing, right? So when you do a port, you have to do it to a specified spec, and it's called out in your print, and so that is the spec that you have to do it to. And so the two most popular that we've seen our customers through demand is an AS port, which is an aerospace port, AS5202, and then an SAE J1926 port, and that stands for Society of Automotive Engineers. Previously was an MS military
standard.
Yeah, military standard. And then it was renamed by the Society of Automotive Engineers. So those are our two most popular ports specs that we kind of follow, but we've got a lot more than that too.
Yeah. But and we haven't just, even though we've made those port tools for a long time, we haven't just continued to make the same tool for a long time. Mm-hmm. We have changed the tool along the way to where we've made pilotless versions now, coolant through versions, because that's been a number of years now, but it's like as more and more spindles have coolant through option, you need to adapt your tools in order to do that. We have more coatings that we've offered onto our port tools. We're now, instead of just having the NACO Alton coating on there, we also have a ZRCN coating that is ideal for non-ferrous materials. Just trying to meet all the different demands that people have. And that's where I see that will continue to happen as we get more coatings available with our new equipment. Is that, you have different alloys being cut that require even newer coating technology, and we'll see what happens with that. But
and how do you work with your customers on developing some of their wants and meeting those?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of helping customers as they call in through tech support, hearing their pain points. It's also hearing the feedback from sometimes from distributors, sometimes from the manufacturer reps that we have that work for our company, because they're in the field working with them, with our customers on a daily basis, and so they're able to give feedback. And so it's a mix of those multiple sources. And then I think that the other area that we're using in order to learn is that we didn't really talk about, but was another piece of equipment that we invested in last year, was our own R&D mill. So we bought a CNC mill separate from our other production mills that we use for port tool bodies, that's just for testing our own tools. And so that way we can in-house put our tool inside of the mill, load it up, buy stainless, buy titanium, buy alloy steel, whatever it is that we need to test, and put our tool in there and see how it performs, adjust our speeds and feeds that we're recommending, and try and simulate the same situations that our customers are facing.
That's a standard process.
It is.
And you kind of go,
right.
change as it depends on the circumstances. But that is, to me, it sounds like, you emphasize that effort a bit in the discussions we were having before we went live. And that's instilled from your grandfather and your father.
Yeah,
okay.
I think that's right. Yeah.
But this is how we're growing up, from being a small family company into trying to move our way up as a tool manufacturer, and and be at a top tier in the industry. So
I'm not sure if you said this at the beginning of the podcast about the name, but scientific. If somebody was asking why scientific,
right?
When you get to machines like we were just talking about the Zoller, the ANCA EPX, and the CemeCon. If I pronounced that right, I hope I did.
Yeah, you did. You got it. You nailed it. Yep.
I can't even blame Bourbon for that. I've only had but that is complete science. So most companies involved in this industry are very scientific at this point.
Absolutely. You have to
whether
be.
the wider community, the general population understands just how high tech this stuff is. This is what makes it exciting. To still be doing this in this country and watching the tools be produced. and watching tools last longer and longer and longer, as long as you're using them right.
As long as you're using them.
It's shocking to hear sometimes the cycle time that, I mean, I know in aluminum tools can last for a very long time, but even in other materials, you go to a show and you hear a customer saying something where they're like, yeah, I cut, you used your thread mill and cut 40,000 threads with it, and you're, okay, yeah, cool, yeah,
cool.
Yeah. Chance to talk about any feedback you've gotten from anyone?
Yeah, I mean, so look, it's super fun to go to the shows and hear the feedback. I think because we have been around for a while, we've got this 6 decades of experience now, particularly in porting tools, and almost as many now with thread mills. But to hear that feedback from I was just in Minneapolis earlier this fall, and shout out to Aggressive Hydraulics. They're in Minneapolis, and they're like, we own every single one of your porting tools or your cavity tools. Like that, this is all we do is hydraulic type stuff, hydraulic fittings, and and so just to hear what they're doing, and they're a little bit larger of an outfit, but at the same show I had somebody walk up and they're like, oh yeah, we use that one right there, and they pointed to a cavity tool. Like, what are you doing? We're putting the fittings together for wells, like well water.
Okay.
And so to hear about, I think, the different and completely varied applications is just so exciting. It's so fun to me to hear, like, what kind of what sliver are you involved in, and then to know that our tool went into some of those processes was just pretty cool. But the one that stands out the most, I think, Dennis, is one of our engineers, Nick,
excuse me, guys.
Shout out to Nick Henley. So Nick and I were at the Zoller open house, the West Coast open house earlier this year, I think. Yeah, earlier this year. And so we're getting ready to prepare our presentation or whatever on how we've implemented the Zoller, the SKP palm, and the Genius. And we did this case study with Zoller, and it was cool, and it was awesome and everything. But we had this person walk in right before the presentation started, and they're like, hey, I have this tool. And the person, Dietmar, I think, was on the Zoller, on the showroom floor at Zoller in Torrance, and he's like, oh, we should throw it on the Genius. And we're like, okay, cool. And so he whips out this tool. He literally just took a tool out of his pocket. It wasn't even in a tube or anything. He just ripped it out of his pocket. And it was a porting tool. And I'm like thinking to myself, that looks really familiar. Could that be one of our tools? I think it might be. So I'm like, hey, who'd you buy that from? Who's the manufacturer on that? And he's like, oh, I don't know, some grind shop in LA. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he puts it on the Genius, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, that is our tool. I can see our logo on it or whatever.
You're on the spot.
Yeah. So then we're sweating, oh my gosh, I hope this tool passes muster with, on the Zoller Genius, where there are no secrets left undone. It can see everything. But it was pretty neat, and the tool passed muster, and all of the tolerances and clearances and cutting edges were.
It was all there,
and it was all in spec,
yep.
And it was all as it should be. But that was pretty neat to see, just how we're able to serve, the aerospace. That particular porting tool was for the aerospace industry, but just to think about how, scientific cutting tools and cutting tool manufacturers in general, we're not the only player on the market, but just how much we undergird the manufacturing industry is just pretty neat to think about. So that particular, that gentleman walking up onto the Zoller open house with his porting tool, that really drove it home for me. It was like, whoa, okay, good, it passed. But also just to remember, we were talking about at the beginning of the episode, how many steps back it takes to get to cutting tools, but to really understand that it does truly undergird. There's a through line for all of that.
All the companies out there help move the industry forward.
Yeah.
All the cutting tool companies, all the machine companies, everybody is
and-
constantly researching and developing something
right.
that's going to make it better and more efficient and even safer. So,
And I'm glad you said that because, I'm thinking of like cutting tool companies because that's my perspective, right? Like that's who I'm representing and who I'm passionate about. But it's really the makers, the machinists, the doers that are using our tools. It's really what can be done with our tools. So it's really those are the real MVPs right there. Are our end users, who are doing the things and making the things with the tools. So
Yeah.
because you want to talk about how it is working together, siblings, before we start to wrap up.
All right.
But
oh,
before
you
we
want to
do,
go there, huh? Yeah.
I got to take a second here.
Yeah.
Grab. I need a little.
You need a top off, Dennis.
Yeah. All right. Help us out.
Yeah, help a girl out here.
Yeah.
We're gonna top off. I'm not.
Pause to our listeners. Important business is taking place.
Yeah, this is,
That's right.
Because now we're gonna get to the how siblings work together.
Now's where we're gonna need a drink. No.
We waited this long to let the bourbon kick in.
That's right. Look, I've said from the very beginning of my time re-engaging with SCT, I get to go to work with my favorite people. It's
true.
also the people that drive me the most nuts. Just kidding. Just kidding. No.
The fact that you can kid about it speaks volumes. Yeah.
I really do. I get to work with my favorite people, and that's, my husband, my brother, my cousin, my sister-in-law, my other cousins. We have a guy who's been brazing so it's the porting tools and the cavity tools that have brazed in
Inserts,
cutting edges,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Cutting inserts. Kuko held me when I was a baby.
Oh my gosh.
We have pictures of him at Grandpa Stan's house at company Christmas parties with his children and us as children. Like we're not the only family.
Yeah,
at
there are
SCT.
multiple family
there are-
systems within
exactly.
the company that, you take Kuko, for example, his daughter works in customer service. His what is it? His
Nephews or something.
brother-in-law.
I don't know.
Work
I
is
don't
the head
know.
of inspection. His nephew's work is in the shop.
Yeah.
That's one family. There's our family.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of family going on.
There's a lot of family, but I think what we've captured is a culture of family.
Yeah.
So whether you're actually related by blood or not,
Yeah.
you feel like you're part of the family, and I think that that's part of who we are and what's woven into, for our end users to know. It sounds cheesy, but when you get that tool, like it's totally going to sound cheesy. I just can't. I can't take it any other direction than cheesy, but it really is made with love. Like there's a family atmosphere that you feel when you walk
There's
our shop
pride
floor.
in
There's
that
pride
too,
in
yeah.
workmanship.
Well, you
but
know-
working
but with-
together.
in the family part of it, there is.
there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're not just, you're serving the people that you care about the most.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's a heavy responsibility.
It is a
I
heavy
think.
responsibility.
Yeah.
We were talking about that before this started a little bit about what it is like working with family, and it's like you're not just trying to run a business, but the decisions you make and the conflicts that you have are not just with your coworker, but they're people that you deeply care about and have had lifelong relationships with, and so there's a whole nother layer there that you have to think about.
Yep.
And
It's true. And
and you brought up a good point earlier before this, and I'll let you say it, but about conflict.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think I said something about how you disagree is far more important than what you disagree about.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
in a couple of years, and it's the old cliche, like, oh yeah, I feuded with that guy forever. I don't even remember what it's about. And you don't remember what it's about, but how you comported yourself throughout that disagreement is far more important than the actual crux of that disagreement. So
Yeah.
I think, our core values are integrity and excellence, and and honesty, integrity, honesty, and excellence. And that's what we try to inculcate, whether you're a future owner, whether you are the newest hire who is pushing the broom on the shop floor, that shouldn't matter. The same principle follows through. How you disagree is more important than what you disagree about, and people matter more.
Yeah.
I think the natural next question here is when you talk about careers, you're always kind of thinking about helping family and extended family find their career, and you've done a lot with SCTs, done a lot with workforce development, and specifically, I think Sarah, you have
Yes.
initiated some things.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about how that fits into that culture, and what specifically have you done?
Yeah, so it's really, it just thrills my heart as a former educator to be able to kind of marry education and manufacturing and see how that ties into workforce development. Because really what we're doing when we educate through CTE programs, career and these technical pathway programs, is we're setting ourselves up for the next generation of makers and doers. So some of the, I brought back to SCT Manufacturing Day, which is something promoted by the Manufacturing Institute. I think we have a couple pictures for those who are following along with visuals as well of Manufacturing Day that we just celebrated in October. October is Manufacturing Month, and October 3rd, I think, is Manufacturing Day. There we are. Yay!
Yeah.
We're talking to the young ones, right? the next generation, these high school students, and just... So we throw open our doors and we let them know, like, advanced manufacturing is not dark, dank, and dirty. It is well lit and automated and well paid.
And even air conditioned.
And
in our
even
shop.
that's true.
Yeah.
And our shop we are air conditioned as well.
Yeah.
So this was just last month, and I was explaining to them something. Obviously, we were very passionate about something. And so our own local school district, I have collaborated with the assistant superintendent to be able to facilitate tours from all of the high schools. And
so how many high schools?
So there's 3 main high schools, but then there's also an alternative high school, and then an at-home school. So there's kind of 5 altogether, but 3 main ones that we kind of cater to. And then we also in our city have a technical institute that's for the post-18 crowd, but also allows for the high school students that are right next door to them. They happen to be geographically situated next door to one of the high schools. This amazing teacher there at CemeCon Institute who allows these high school students to come 1 day a week. So we're actually able to scoop up those high school students. I mean, the smiles,
and that's for
smiles say it all, right?
Yeah.
Like, they were the students. I don't care what people say about Gen Z. Like, they are bright, they are curious, they are inquisitive.
Absolutely.
They care about not just getting ahead, they care about the implication of how they get ahead. I think that they have moral fiber. They have empathy. Like, they care on a level that I think millennials should feel a little bit called out for, honestly. They're just amazing, and I just find so much joy in hosting them and having them come. But this is part of a kind of a larger conversation Within our county, I also have the privilege of sitting on our workforce development board for our county. And so one of our county's key sectors that they're targeting is advanced manufacturing. And so I'm able to speak into some of the needs and the concerns and the exciting things that are happening within the world of advanced manufacturing in our county, and kind of able to create this feedback loop of workforce development. Obviously, like my hope and my dream and my desire for these high schoolers is that they find themselves gainfully employed in jobs that are able to support them in a high cost of living area like Ventura County, like where we live. And that my hope is that they would consider advanced manufacturing as one of those viable options. And so that kind of, there's all this conversation about the workforce gap, and manufacturing is facing this huge shortfall in a skills gap and in a workforce gap. And so I think this is our own little part to play in how we can create that feedback loop of speaking into the next generation, but also exposing them to what it could look like in a career in advanced manufacturing. And also, I selfishly hope that some of them come back and apply.
Well,
some of them said they want.
Some of them were like, Miss, do you do internships? Like, Miss, can I get your email address so that I can send you my resume? So they're like, look, they're eager and they're curious and they're bright and they want to engage with this industry.
Doesn't that tell you something right there about the potential for manufacturing to resolve the skills gap pretty quickly, and maybe in 5-10 years or so? That kind of reaction to just their first time maybe seeing it or being on location and witnessing firsthand and wanting to find out about an internship. I mean, that is as telltale as it can get, I think, that this industry is just lacking the publicity, I guess, the awareness,
the exposure,
the exposure to what it actually exists, what it means to be to have a career as a machinist or some other aspect, just being in grinding or whatever it is, whatever part you're playing on the shop floor. There's so many different elements. Programming, I mean, you can do so many different related jobs that are all part of that process of either if you're producing components for Boeing or GM or someone else. I mean, or if you're making tools at SCT.
Right, it could be additive even. Like I think there are some really great voices out there, and I just, to mention like Jim Mayer and Nush A and A-Bomb, and even, Titans of CNC just hosted their Bombastic kind of trade show / event type thing. I think there are Jake Hall, the manufacturing millennial. There are many of us who are out there kind of calling this out. Sometimes it feels like into the void. Usually it's not. Just on bad days it feels like a void. But there are voices out there who are calling out. But I think, even for those shops who are like, oh, I'm too small to do that, like you're really not. You're really not. Like if you open the doors to even just your local high school or middle school, to whatever those teachers are pushing forward in their STEM curriculum, and like, get on the Manufacturing Institute website. They have a whole packet of here's how you run a manufacturing day event, and I think if there's this grassroots movement popping up across the country of just if every shop just opened their doors to just a few kids, we would no longer have a workforce development crisis.
And I want to take it on a little bit of a different tangent from that in speaking to my own training. One thing I would say right now that's critical as you have a generation that is getting close or is retiring from this industry.
Not getting close. Is retired.
It
Well,
is retired.
it
There you go.
is.
All right. You like
yes.
it? Well, Dennis laying it out for us.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. But if
I'm
you,
at the tail end of that baby.
look,
There you go.
if you have a few years left in it,
Yeah.
don't be afraid to share what you know
Mm-hmm.
with the next generation. Please do.
And there's a good
Because
Go ahead.
I have, that is how I've gotten so much of the education that I have in this industry, is because the generation ahead of me, tool makers, engineers, other people that we've had working in our company that were willing to say yes and go, I'll show you how to do this. I'll teach you the little secrets, the little, the nuances of a certain process or a certain tool or a certain way of doing things. You're going to be a better person for it if you're willing to show the next generation how that works.
And I think one thing that passing on tribal knowledge is, it's almost as giving back to the industry that
It is.
Enabled a really, from where I'm standing, very well paid careers that that can get to the six figures pretty quickly these days.
Yeah.
I think that it is something that would almost become like one of the most noble things, I think. And I don't want to get too sappy about it, but
Right.
I mean, passing that knowledge on, however that might take,
Right.
whatever form that takes, like putting it into an AI module, or just having a bunch of videos that you shoot and just have for your staff. Here's how you do this. My wife just made a Italian spaghetti meatballs thing last night that her mother came by, about 6 months ago and filmed herself doing it, and
That's awesome.
Oh.
Yeah.
it worked.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So whatever it takes to pass on that tribal knowledge,
That's
don't
right.
let these things slip away.
Yep.
And that allows your company or your shop to just keep building on. That is the crux of it. And the other part is that any shop, I think, can take part in doing
Yes.
something.
That's right.
There are a lot of different models that they could copy and or just reach out for someone to come by and help them do something in their local community.
Yep.
I just think that's one of those, that's an issue in this industry that right now it's really important
Yeah.
It is.
that this get addressed as fast as it can. And my God, what a perfect time for this is not maybe the perfect time economic wise. I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff going on.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
The thing is, it's getting harder and harder for people to own a home, and just college is getting more and more expensive.
Yeah.
So you need options.
Yeah.
You just need options. And if you're not sure about college, think about this, because there's so much to wrap your arms around and get your hands on, and you just if you think you like working with your hands and that might be what you want, this is one of those industries, these industries that you should be looking into.
Yeah.
And there's so many different industries that this connects to. Chances are you'll be involved with like aerospace, automotive, defense, and whatever else, whatever
Medical,
Medical,
yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
Yep. It's true.
So
Yeah, you're totally right. I think of it as different college, right?
Yes.
Because you're still going to school, and there is still an element that is cerebral rather than tactile, although it is more tactile than the other. But
you still have
it's
to use
both.
your brain.
It's
There's
both.
no question.
Absolutely.
It's a matter of what you're interested in doing.
Yep.
And I also think one of the things that I have found is so many of the people who are engineers in this industry didn't start out by going and getting an engineering degree. They start out by working for a machining company and got their engineering degree because they
true.
became so interested in it.
That's true.
So there's a lot of those anecdotal stories out there. And once you have the passion, then you're going to go and seek a degree, whatever degree you want. I have nothing against college. It's just not necessarily something you should just go and do if you really aren't sure what you're going to do, particularly because it's so
Right,
expensive
yeah.
these days.
Yeah.
You got to be somewhat sure you're going to be able to pay it back, right? So,
Yeah.
in any event, I'm getting off on a tangent there, but it is a very, I think, it can provide a very lucrative career for
It can.
so many people who
It's true.
still are. There's too many people unaware.
And meaningful.
Oh yeah,
Meaningful and lucrative, which is really, you want,
you can
I
point
think
to
you want
things on the
both.
street as you're driving by
Yep.
and show your sister that this.
That's right.
That's right.
That's
Yep.
right.
You can't- yep.
Exactly. Full circle moment.
Yep.
Exactly. We did that. Yeah.
All right. Do we want to do this closing round? A rapid
Sure.
fire?
Yes.
Okay. So
Okay.
I'm going to go with that biggest misconception about coatings.
Oh, that's you, bro.
Well, I think there's a couple things there. One is maybe that they're all coatings are created equal, and they're not. The way that you prepare the tool, what you coat with it, how the adhesion that you're able to achieve when you're doing the coating process makes a huge difference. The other misconception is that they're is how worthwhile they are. And what we've seen is that if you're going from, say, an uncoated tool, if you're kind of old school and choosing not to buy it with coating on the tool, you're going to see huge gains with coatings on there.
It's worth
Gains
it.
in tool life or just
Oh,
productivity? Or,
Yes.
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 Chip
Yeah.
evacuation, lubricity, tool life, all of it.
The
Yes.
speeds that you can run
Yes.
at, productivity.
So in other
yeah.
words, if you're a shop and you're scratching your head wondering how you're going to eke out a little bit more profit out of maybe a workload that's kind of stabilized or plateaued of late, this might be an option.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing like a Nastaloy, like an Inconel
Yeah.
or Hastel, then don't
That's-
count
I
on getting
came
a
up with
lot
that
anyway.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nastaloy?
Nastaloy.
Nastaloy.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't count on, nothing can help you. Sorry.
No, I mean, although there's been big gains in that too, and we're hoping to see
We're
some
working
of
on
that
that.
too.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the quality control win from Zoller?
Oh man, I mean, I think it's that man walking in off the street at that open house, Dennis, where he's like, I got this tool, put it on here, and we're like, oh my gosh, that's our tool. And then it checked out. I think that was definitely like a sweaty armpits, flustered moment, and then it all
But at
panned
the same
out.
time,
So
like I wouldn't have been too worried because I know what we do.
right.
And-
Well, okay.
But-
well, Nick and I were worried, okay? Like
know
we
what?
were like, oh my gosh. No,
It's
it
one thing-
panned out. Yeah.
I got to say that would I do all this writing. We edit things and then you get the print issue and I give you a copy of the September issue and I'm looking at that thing. Okay, now as soon as I open this up, I'm going to spot a typo. I
Of
know
course.
it. I know
time.
it.
Without
Yeah,
fail.
I know.
Yep,
I know.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
no,
it's-
I mean,
yeah.
that's our win, I think, is
And-
just being put on the spot like that. And like people came up and asked us, the Zoller people actually came up and asked us, did you do that on purpose? And I was like, no, I did not.
I would not do
did
that
my
on
stress
purpose.
level
Yeah.
tip you off? Like I did not do that on purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about. What if something had gone wrong? I mean,
I
oh my
know.
God. And you had to speak at that.
I know.
right?
And then
Yeah.
as a keynote, oh my gosh.
Okay, but that is just.
That's a win. That's a
And,
win.
and anyone listening out there, it's not always that stressful.
Yeah.
And that's kind of high level stress.
Yeah, that was, yes.
All right, we kind of touched on this, but one tool you're most proud of, and tell us why. Right now.
All right. So
No, what
On the
tool?
spot.
Tool right now that you're
Yeah.
most proud of.
yeah, I think it would be. I love the work that I've done with our thread milling in the past, with solving problems with some of the really weird threads like Acme, and so I've had some big wins in the past on that, but that's been a while. So I'd say that the tool that I'm most proud of right now is probably the drills that we've come out with recently.
Cool.
And those drills are for they're to support our port tools. So that was actually all driven by customer feedback. We've been making port tools for decades, and customers more in the past few years, we were getting more calls where they're saying, "Hey, we're buying this port tool from you, but what size do we drill it to? And hey, do you have that drill? Can we just buy it from you?" And it was, "No, we don't have that drill. We don't have that drill." And then eventually it was, "Well, maybe we should make that drill." And so we started making step drills and also other drills that were for, depending on the port tool style, for prepping the hole before the port tool goes in. And we've actually turned that into a kit now, so that for the more popular port tool sizes, you can get the kit that gives you the drill, the port tool, and the thread mill all together. You ship it, they get it, they have all the tools they need to complete that port. So I'm proud of that because of just the process that we went through in order to make it, to the people that I had involved, to the team. One of my engineers, Nick, he was pretty new to our group, and he was able to help me substantially with that. And it was really cool. As IMTS was happening, I left for IMTS, and we were finishing up building the stock for that new product as the show was happening. And he was, he was instrumental in making that happen, and I'm just proud of the people I have around me too that were able to make that whole product work. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
And it is just, such a good origin story that another one where just listening to customers brings about a whole new opportunity, and what a great result. So that's about it.
Yeah. We've covered a lot.
It's almost midnight.
Right? We're all going to turn into pumpkins now.
Yeah.
I blame you.
Is there anything else that you would like to say before we actually close it out? We'll do a toast, but
Yeah, no. I think just cheers to the industry. Really. And this is to, like I said before, the makers and the doers and the backbone of our country. And, I think that the big thing that I would take away with 2025 as 2025 comes to a close is just growth among chaos. And cheers to the makers and the doers and the machinists and the tool makers and all of the ancillary verticals and horizontal, everybody that's involved in this that has been along for this wild ride of 2025 in manufacturing. Just so well done.
Well, let's just go with that.
Here we
Cheers
go.
to that.
Here we go.
That was
Cheers.
well said. Well, with that, thank you for coming all this way, all the way from LA to beautiful downtown Arlington Heights, Illinois.
Pleasure.
For Bourbon
Glad
with
to be
the
here.
editor. Jonathan, Sarah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
thanks to your family for letting you come all this way and take the time to do this. This has been very interesting for me to learn more about your company. I hope it's been interesting for everyone else.
Thank you,
as well.
Dennis. Yeah.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.